Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. Just a quick reminder, the Jesus said commands that we talk about are from our weekday Bible plan, and you can go to bible.today.church and see that. It's a 5-day-a-week plan, and each day there is a different command of Jesus in kind of a little soundbite. And today's command is guard against greed. That's what Jesus said in Luke 12:15. And that passage is where he said, beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own. And so today's Jesus said to guard against greed. That word for greed literally could be translated to covet or covetousness. And that means to have a greedy desire to have more. And Jesus said to guard against that, to guard against the greedy desire to have more. Having more seems to be the goal of most everything in our culture today. It's almost like an unnatural focus on having the most and getting more, and we seem to never be satisfied. We're never satisfied with the amount of entertainment that we have. We're never satisfied with the amount of social media that we have. We're never satisfied with our salary, with the house, the car, and in fact, we have so many influences that tell us over and over we need more and more and more. And Jesus said to guard against greed. Well, how do we guard against greed? Well, the opposite of greed is generosity. And we can guard against greed and selfishness of it being all about what we attain by also obeying Jesus' command to give and to be generous. And that's how we can guard against greed, by living the opposite of greed, living the opposite of the desire for more and more for our own needs. We see that reflected in Acts 2 in the early church as God miraculously poured out his Spirit, and that outpouring went to the community, and they had 3,000 conversions in one day, and then the church began to gather together daily. And not only were they together in person, it also says that they shared and that they had all things in common. And then later on, we see that the church was selling their extra possessions and bringing those proceeds to the apostles, and that they were distributing those to those who had needs, and that there were no needy among them. They were obeying Jesus' command to guard against greed by practicing ridiculous generosity. Generosity is the best protection against greed. It's the best protection against selfishness. And what better example do we have of selfless sacrifice than Jesus, the Son of God, actually taking the position of human to serve and to give up everything for those who didn't even deserve it. He is the essence of generosity. And so how should we, as Jesus followers, live? We should also live generously. And that is how we guard against greed. How can we be generous with not just our finances, not just with the things that we have, but generous with our time, generous with our words, generous with our grace and mercy? That is how we can obey Jesus and what he said. Jesus said, guard against greed. How can we put that into practice today?